Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Wednesday, August the 19th. Overall markets, as you can see, SPY yesterday after the gap down, a little bit more consolidation here. And we kind of were just ranging in between the 768 along with the 770 today here in the pre-market. Um, Not too big of a move. So coming to market open, we're just going to mark out that previous day highs and previous day lows. It's going to be key. We're also at a very key level of support as well on the higher time frame. So keep an eye out for that coming to market open here today. What's up, everyone? Good morning. What's up, J10, Calvin? Good morning, Maria, TW. Good morning, Wallace. Good morning, Knight, Gerald, Carl, Lamit. What's up, Sawkiss? What's up, Senna, Robert, Bobby? Like the options video. I'm glad you enjoyed it. What's up, Andrea? What's up, Jovian? What's up, everyone? Z Norris, DK, Gusta, Adam, Kevin. What's up, Hey, Harold? What's up, everyone? Yeah, hope you guys are doing well. Let me pull up the economic calendar and we will get started. We do have a little bit of red folder news. Today, we do have the FOMC minutes. In the overnight session, Trump extended the tariffs on Canada for a couple of days. So we'll see if they finalize a deal anytime soon. But for today, we do have a couple of things to keep an eye out for. FOMC minutes, that is going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Trump is speaking later into the day as well. That's going to be at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So FOMC minutes usually doesn't impact the market as much compared to the FOMC statement, but this is still something to keep an eye out for coming into market open. With that being said, let's hop straight into the charts. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Which broker are you using? If you check out my latest video on the options, I explain how to use the broker. It depends where you live, right? If you live in US, Canada, there's a bunch of different brokers. I'm not affiliated with anyone, so you can use any broker that is regulated. As long as they're regulated, you can use that. As for the SPY, let's take a look at this one here on the higher time frames. Right now, we are right at a key level of support. So as you can see, 768, that's our key level here for the higher time frames. If we do break underneath this level, the next level on the higher time frames is going to be this previous all-time highs, which is that 760 here. So this is a very key level support here. If we reclaim back above, get above our previous day highs, then we can see this potential gap fill back towards the upside. So coming into market open here, the exact key levels that I have marked out today is going to be that previous day highs, 770, along with our previous day lows, which is that 768, which, as you can see, higher time frame level support. If you go into the hourly time frame here and zoom out, what we're going to be looking for today is either one of two things, right? If we do want to see some upside in the markets, we'd like to see a bounce off our previous day lows, push back towards the upside, or if we can get above our previous day highs, we can see a move back up in towards our previous kind of gap fill that we created here, which is that 772. So as I mentioned, the potential bounce play coming to market open or now above our previous day highs is going to set this up for a push back towards the upside. Shorts are in play here now. We do have room towards the downside if we do get underneath this 767 here on the higher time frame. So underneath our previous day lows, if we hold underneath and we stay heavy, then we could be looking for a trade back down in towards that previous all-time highs. There's room down in towards our 765 and below. So today, really, we'll keep an eye out on that previous day lows. That's going to be key here for the SPY. For the ES, kind of similar thesis here. The ES, the levels are a little bit different, but the higher time frame level of support that we have marked out is the 7730 here. If you go into the daily chart, you can see for the SPY with the contracts adjusted, we're actually technically right at that previous all-time highs or very close to it. So for the ES, that's why this is a very key level. We very much well could bounce. and push right back towards the upside here in the market. So for the ES, key technical levels that we have marked out is going to be this 77.30. If we can reclaim back above this area, then we can see that push back towards the upside. If we reject off that 77.30, then we're going to see a push right back down in towards our previous day lows and below here on the ES. As for the QQQ, the key technical levels that we have coming into today, you can see once we broke underneath that 728, we had room down in towards that 716. And currently, as you can see, buyers are stepping in here off that 716. If markets do want to stay heavy, we get underneath that 716. Next level is going to be down into that 710 here on the higher time frame. So coming into market open here for the QQQ, what are we going to be looking for? Fairly similar thesis to the SPY, maintain above that previous day lows, continuation back up in towards that 720. If we get above our 720, then we can see room back up in towards our previous day highs and potentially this gap fill that we have created. So long scenarios, best case is going to be above our 720 for a push up in towards that previous day highs and above. If we do get underneath our previous day lows, hold underneath that 716, we can see room down in towards that 710 and below here on the higher time frame. So that's what we have for the QQQ coming into market open here. If we head on to the NQ, the key levels that we have marked out is going to be that previous day highs along with our previous day lows. You can see currently the Qs is kind of right into a key area of support on the higher time frames. So if you do want to see any sort of upside in the markets, break above, hold above that previous day highs for continuation, or now the bounce play off our previous day lows for a push back towards the upside. If you're looking at this more so on the daily time frame, right now you can see the daily time frame is still very much bullish, especially from this August bottom, right? As long as you can build up a higher low, we're still going to maintain a bullish bias here in the markets. If we do break underneath, then we're going to be a little bit more cautious here. So at least for today, the exact levels that we have marked out is just going to be that previous day highs that we can have marked out plus that previous day lows. Upside, maintain above our previous day lows for a push higher, or now above our previous day highs for continuation. If we do break underneath that 29,440, we have room down in towards that 29,320 here on the higher time frame. So SPY and Qs, the key levels today is just going to be that previous day lows coming into market open. So we'll keep an eye out for that. As for the SMH coming into market open here, you can see the semis were a little bit weaker as of recent, just basically yesterday after that gap down and that initial push towards the downside. We did have a little bit of a pullback here on some of the semiconductors. We are still right into a key technical level here, which is that 560. Higher time frame wise, we could develop this inverse head and shoulders here as long as we maintain above that 560. So for the SMH above our previous day highs, we can see a push right back up in towards this gap fill that we have created. So for the SMH coming into market open here, as you can see, a couple of the key levels that we have marked out. Now I'm going to have marked out that previous day highs, which is going to be key. Other levels that we can have marked out here is going to be our 570 along with our previous day lows, which you can mark out 564. If we do want to see some upside coming into market open, I personally would like it above our previous day highs. That's going to be the best case scenario. So above that 570, potential flip back towards the upside. Above our previous day highs, we have room back up in towards our 580 and above. Right now, with the overall indices being a little bit weaker, you can see we had a nice pop in the pre-market and now we're fading back lower. If we do maintain weakness, which now is underneath this 570 or underneath our previous day lows, then we do have room down in towards our 560 and below here on the SMH. Let's head on to the IWM and then we will head on to some tech names here. For the IWM, the exact level I wanted to see hold was this 302. We kind of had this higher time frame, we had this cup and handle, and now I just wanted to see continuation above our 302. You can see yesterday, once we did gap down, we got back underneath that 303. And you can see this one is pulling back. So for the IWM, the daily time frame is still building up higher lows, but in this case now, we like to see either the reclaim back above that 302 or the higher low off our 298 for continuation back towards the downside. Most likely now, it could also reject off this area and head down in towards that 298. So with that being said, let's head on to some tech names and what we have coming into market open here. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you guys would like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. Okay, let's take a look at Tesla on the higher time frames. So far, Tesla's still right into a key technical level, 340. If we can get above our 340 here on Tesla, then we're going to see the push back up and towards our 350 and this potential full gap fill. If we reject and we break structure here on this daily time frame, then we can see a potential flip here on Tesla. So let's go on to the lower time frames. The exact levels that we have marked out coming into today is going to be that 334, which you can see yesterday we had a nice initial bounce on Tesla, push back towards the upside. Key levels that I'm going to have marked out is still going to be that 334. That's our higher time frame key level. And then now we can also have marked out our previous day highs here as well. So we have a couple key levels. Really the main levels in this case is just going to be that previous day highs. And now we can mark out that previous day lows. 338 is still valid. I'm just going to get rid of that one and just have our previous day highs and previous day lows. For today, if we do want to see some upside here, potential bounce play off our 334, we'd really like to see it above that 340 for any sort of continuation back higher. If we're looking at this from an hourly perspective, as you can see here for Tesla, currently we are building up hourly higher lows. So you can see prices defending that 334. So now we just like to see it maintain above that level for a push higher. As I mentioned, above our previous day highs, we can see room back up and towards that 344. If Tesla does break underneath that previous day lows hold, then we can see a flip here and a push down in towards that 325. That's only underneath our previous day lows and that 334. As for now, a lot of these names are kind of consolidating with, of course, the SPY and Q's pullback yesterday. And of course, yesterday and its close from yesterday as well. As for AMD, this one's kind of right back into the previous level of consolidation that we had marked out, which is that 470 along with that 500. So for AMD moving forward, if we do want to see some upside, we like to see the reclaim back above that 500. Currently, we are in between its previous day's range. The levels that we have marked out here now, we can just mark out that previous day lows, other levels, which is the area that we essentially broke down from. In this case, it is our previous day highs, 486. If we do want to see some upside here today above that 486 or the potential bounce play here off our previous day lows for a continued pushback towards the upside. If we do reject off that previous day lows, previous day highs area, we can see a potential pop and fade, or now shorts underneath our previous day lows are in play for a push down in towards the higher time frame level support, which would happen to be that 470. So rejection, potentially room down into that 470 here now on AMD. As for NVIDIA, let's take a look at this one. The key technical levels that we have marked out on NVIDIA coming into today is going to be that similar thing, right? Previous day lows that we can have marked out. higher time frame wise, we're kind of just right back in this period of consolidation. If we do want to see some upside back above that 224 is going to be key. So for Nvidia, key levels that we can have marked out today, previous day highs along with our previous day lows. If we want to see some upside above our previous day highs, hold for a potential pushback towards the upside, or now the bounce play off our previous day close. If we reject here, then we can see a move down in towards that previous day lows, or now shorts underneath that previous day lows down in towards that 215 here on the higher time frames. As for Apple, this one had a nice push up yesterday. One of the only tickers that was green on the day. So the overall markets dropped yesterday. Apple had some strength above our previous day highs. You can see multiple rejections here once we broke above. Nice retest. Now for Apple moving forward, let's see if we can maintain above this 308. You can see some buyers stepped in here in the pre-market. Now we also have our previous day highs marked out here as well. If we can break above, hold above that previous day highs, room up in towards that 315 here is in play, which is the top of the range. So for Apple, keep an eye out on the break above our previous day highs for push up in towards 315 coming into market open here today. As for Google just kind of right back inside this period of consolidation. If you do want to see any sort of upside, we like to see the break above our previous day highs. That's going to be key for any sort of continuation. Currently, we are rejecting right off that 342 previous level of support, now turning into resistance. And now we're heading right back down in towards that previous day lows. Microsoft right into a key level support here as well. I would like to see some buyers step in off our 480. If we can see that bounce here off that 480, then we can see that push right back towards the upside. 490 and above. So above our previous day highs is going to be key, or now the bounce off that 480. So for Microsoft, key technical levels that we have marked out after yesterday's consolidation here in the markets, all we're going to do is just mark out that previous day highs. If price does want to flip back towards the upside here now, we need it above our previous day highs. Compared to yesterday, longs were fairly difficult after that big push towards the downside. Even on the SPY and Qs as well, longs were fairly difficult because we're gapping down. And we also pushed down as well on the day prior. But today, since we have that, since we had a little bit more consolidation yesterday, now we have that previous day high set. And if we can break above that previous day highs hold, then we could be looking for a trade scenario where we'd have minimal risk, break above that previous day highs hold for a push back up and towards that full gap fill. So these are the scenarios that we can be looking for in the markets. Even on the Qs today, if we can break above that previous day highs, now we can be looking for potential low risk entry, stop underneath, looking for a pushback up in towards that full gap fill back towards the upside. So that's what we have for today on the SPY and the Qs and a lot of the major names coming into market open. As for Meta, this one showing a little bit more weakness. So kind of rejected off this 600. You can see we did recently fill this daily gap. We're actually rejecting off this area and pushing back towards the downside. Based off this daily chart here on Meta, it does seem like we are going to push back down in towards our higher time frame level of support. This is our double bottom. Most likely going to retest this level once again. So for Meta, key levels that we have marked out now underneath our previous day lows, there is some more room down into the key levels that we can have marked out. It's just going to be that previous day lows underneath this level. Now we can see room down in towards that 540 and potentially below here on Meta. As you can see, that we have one level of support, but after this, really next level all the way back down in towards that 530 here on the higher time frames. As for Amazon, we're right back into that previous all-time high. So let's keep an eye on Amazon above our 256, maintain above that 256, continuation back towards the upside here is in play. This is that previous all-time highs. So let's see if any buyers want to step in for a pushback towards the upside. Netflix, one of the stronger tickers. Key levels that we have marked out is that 76 area that I talked about. You can keep an eye on Netflix, right? Fairly low risk now. We can be looking for a trade back towards the upside. Key technical levels that we have marked out is going to be is going to be really that 76. Other levels now that we have marked out is going to be that previous day high. So Netflix did make a brand new high, and you can see a little bit of seller stepped in kind of right off this area. If we do want to see continuation now, we like to see it above our 79 hold for a pushback towards the upside. So this is what we have for Netflix coming into market open here. Above that 79, we can see continuation back towards the upside. As for SpaceX, this one right underneath that 150 still. If we can get above that 150, you can see the EMAs are starting to flip here as well. If we can get back above that 150, currently we're kind of forming this daily flag pattern. Break above that 150, hold with conviction, push back towards the upside. Really 170 is in play if we can get back above that 150. So that's going to be key here for SpaceX, at least moving forward. Another pop, you can see pop on Monday. Yesterday, another pop here in the markets. We'd like to see it above our previous day highs, above that 150 for a continuation back towards the upside. Okay, with that being said, that was it for most of the Meg 7 names here coming to market open. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you guys would like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. Okay, let's go over some tickers here. Let me scroll up as well. Yeah, Moderna had a nice move in the pre-market, had some news. So um, Moderna up around 85% here. We did have some news regarding its like phase 3 trial testing with cancer. As you can see, this is basically the news that we had. Moderna, FDA, or sorry, the today's highlights, and I thought my mic was muted. But yeah, today, patient phase 3 trials testing. This is kind of the news that we had in the pre-market. It's up off that news headline. We're up over 100% basically. For Moderna, making a brand new yearly high as we speak. The next major level on the higher time frames is actually all the way back up in towards 125 and above. So for Moderna, you had a nice push towards the upside here in the pre-market. Trading these pre-market gappers can be a little bit more difficult. Right, key levels now, right off the bat, you had a nice push towards the upside. You already hit your 125, so we'll see how this one opens. But next level, really on the daily time frame, is pretty far away. It's actually all the way back up in towards our 170. So a lot of room towards the upside, right? 138. You can just mark out these old weekly highs. These are the key technical levels that we have marked out. So those are the next levels. And now if you're marking out down close candles, levels that you want to see a potential bounce, as long as you maintain, there's only really one down close candle here. You can just mark this out right there. On the 5-minute time frame, you can mark out this down close candle and use this as kind of support, right? Coming to market open, you want to see a potential bounce if you do want to see continuation. Let's go over Palantir. Palantir here on the higher time frames, key levels that we have marked out is still going to be that 160 here. That's our higher time frame level of resistance. Now we'd like to see turn into support for a continuation. So best level is going to be that 168 on Palantir. Right now, if we're looking at this on the hourly time frame, we could very much well bounce here off that 168. So bounce off this 168, continuation towards the upside. If we do get underneath that 168, then we can see a short-term mean reversion back down in towards that 164 here on the higher time frame. So Palantir a little bit weaker in the pre-market underneath our previous day lows. If we do get underneath, as I mentioned, there is room down in towards that 164 here on the higher time frames. As for MU and some of the semis are bouncing in key technical areas. I do like the semis quite a bit here. So for MU, the key levels that we have marked out is going to be that 925. This is our area that we broke out from, previous level of resistance, now we want to see turn into support for a pushback higher. So for something like MU, I do like this right here, right off that kind of flat top break. You can see this is the area that we broke out from. As you can see, multiple touches. Once we broke out, we had nice continuation. Now we're just coming back for the retest. So let's keep an eye out on the bounce here off that 930. You can see so far buyers are stepping in off this area. Now, if we can break above our 960, we can see continuation back towards the upside. If we can get, so yeah, back above that 960, we can see a push up in towards that previous day highs. If we do come back down once again, we could see that bounce play off that 930 once more for a push back up in towards that 960, but right into a key technical area. As for SNDK, this one, we kind of had our previous kind of level of resistance. Now we just want to see that reclaim back above. So the key levels that we have marked out on SNDK is going to be that previous day highs area. And we can also mark kind of this area here as well. So for SNDK, what I would like to see coming into today is going to be the reclaim back above this 1680. You can see a couple touches here in the pre-market. If we can get back above that 1680, we can see a flip back towards the upside here. Another possible scenario, the bounce play here off our previous day lows for a pushback towards the upside. So semis are bouncing here in the pre-market, more so specific memory. DRAM in right into a key technical area here as well. This is our previous level of resistance. Now we want to see this level turn into support for a pushback towards the upside. So this is what we have on DRAM. Of course, if we do break underneath, that would kind of invalidate this thesis. But so far, if we can maintain above, we can see some semiconductors push back towards the upside. INTC here breaking underneath our key levels. In this case, we have our 98. If we do hold now underneath this area, we definitely see a flip on INTC back towards the downside. If we can reclaim back above, then we can see a push back up and towards that 104. As for WDC, the key technical levels that we have marked out 500, flip back above, potential room back towards the upside, hold underneath, we can see this mean reversion. As for STX, similar thesis here on a lot of the memory tickers. We have this previous level of resistance, which you can see multiple rejections once we did break above. Now we're just coming back for the retest. So let's keep an eye out on STX for this bounce play for a move back towards the upside, right? So that's a lot of the memory names look very similar to MU and the overall memory ETF as well, which is DRAM right off that 55 key cycle. SK Hynix, we did have some news here in the pre-market. I think we had a buyback. I think that was the news that we had in the morning. So we had a little bit of a pop. You can see this one's up around 3% here in the pre-market. Key levels that we have is going to be that 168. I would like to see it above our previous day highs along with this 168 if we do want to see continuation. If we reject here off our previous day highs, we could see this potential push back down in towards our previous day close, which happens to be that 156. MRVL, we did have some news here in the pre-market. So it seems like we just had news 5 minutes ago. So that's why some of the semis are bouncing here. Let's see if the news will update. I'll have to get the news events for you guys. But MRVL here bouncing nicely currently in the pre-market. Higher lows are being built on the hourly time frame. Now we are breaking above this 230. We're above our previous day highs. Key levels now that we have marked out is just our Monday's highs. So what we like to see here, MRVL is going to be one of our main watches here coming to market open. Another potential bounce play here off our 230 for a pushback towards the upside here as well. Someone's mentioning AVGO. Most likely has to do with news. It seems like AVGO is dropping here with MRVL bouncing. So it probably has to do with news, something regarding the two. But as for AVGO, yeah, this one kind of rejecting off that daily gap fill that we had for earnings. So rejected right off that key level, which was that 430. Breaking back underneath that 400 here now, and we're actually already back down into our key level of support. So for AVGO, all the way back down into that 360 here. That's our higher time frame level. You can see we bounce here multiple times. And this is the exact level we do want to see hold on AVGO for a pushback towards the upside. As for a few other tickers here, not really too much else to talk about. So right now, a couple names in the pre-market are bouncing more so with the memory tickers. So with the Qs and SPY kind of right off our previous day lows, we can see a little bit of buyer stepping in here on the Qs. As SPY here, some buyers stepping in off our previous day lows here as well. So the game plan today is going to be to keep an eye out for that previous day highs. That's going to be key for me, right? If we can get above our previous day highs, we can see a pushback towards the upside. Similar thing here on the SPY. If we can break above, then we can see a potential move higher. If we come up and reject, then I'm going to be a little bit more neutral here in the markets. But the names I am a little bit more bullish on here is going to be the semiconductors, more so specific the memory tickers. So as you can see, we have that nice break, and now we're coming back for the retest. I'm going to keep an eye out for memory upside today, back towards the upside. Key levels that we have marked up, previous day highs here on DRAM. But you can see a lot of names are moving nicely, right? We'll keep an eye out on MU above this 960 for a flip back towards the upside. SNDK, if we can get back above this 1680 for a potential flip back towards the upside. A lot of the memory names, as I mentioned, above our previous day highs for continuation. The name I am going to keep an eye out for today is going to be MRVL. Up nicely here in the pre-market. We'll keep an eye out on the hold above that 240 or now a potential pullback long off our 230 for a pushback towards the highs here on MRVL. For some other names, right, MBIS dropping here, but right back into a key level of resistance, now turning to support. So for MBIS, after this nice push up via earnings, now we're coming back for retracement. Let's keep an eye out on the hold of MBIS 230 for a pushback towards the upside, right? So MBIS is in a very good spot here for a potential bounce play, right? You can see a lot of key levels. Let's keep an eye out on MBIS bounce off that 230 for a pushback towards the upside. As for a couple other tickers, let's go over CRWV. This one here as well, recent gap up via earnings. Now we are approaching kind of the area that we broke out from. So level that we have is our 96, kind of breaking underneath it. So now for CRWV, we would like to see the hold of this kind of earnings low area, which is our 86 here on the higher time frame. So we have a couple levels marked out. We can mark out this. We have two levels, which is our 92. We either like to see the reclaim back above 92 or now the hold of our 86 for a pushback towards the upside. Marvel issues Google warrants up 59 million shares at 206. Okay, so that's why we're having that nice pop here on MRVL. So game plan for today, coming into market open here, you can see the SPY is actually bouncing nicely here in the pre-market. So as I mentioned, the SPY and the Qs, nice pop here within the last kind of 10 to 15 minutes. Key level is going to be that previous day highs coming to market open. So that's where we're going to keep an eye out for on the major indices. As I mentioned today, let's keep an eye out on memory to bounce back towards the upside. MU, we'll keep an eye out on SNDK. We'll also keep an eye out on like names like SK Hynix, just because that had some news in the pre-market. MRVL is going to be one of my main ones to keep an eye out for today here, above 240 for continuation. That's probably going to be my main watch coming into today. And then for the rest of the tickers, yeah, a lot of some semis bouncing here. We'll keep an eye out on like an AMD above 485, and now NVIDIA as well as in play above our previous day highs as well. So that's going to be it for me today. Game plan, as I mentioned, above our previous day highs. You guys already know the levels plus the game plan. We'll just wait for the reaction, right? Based off this intraday price action so far in the pre-market, that doesn't mean we're just going to have an immediate bias towards the upside, but that is one of the scenarios that we're going to be looking for coming into market open here today. So we'll just keep an eye on the first kind of 10 to 15 minutes. If we can break above and hold, then we do have a pretty big gap fill back towards the upside. But yeah, that's going to be it for me today, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.